It's 4:15. Let me just remind you, if you've just tuned in to BBC Radio Cornwall, that there has been an accident between Cardiff and 5 lanes on the A13. It's closed in both directions at the moment, with diversions in place via the A38. In the meantime, as part of the Penzance Lit Fest, we've been hearing about Little Fest, which is aimed at a younger audience going to the festival. One of the authors taking part is Jamie Thomson, who won the Roald Dahl Funny Prize for his Dark Lord, the Teenage Years books, and he's appearing on the 20th of July and is with me now. Afternoon to you.
Hello, Tiffany.
Hello. So how did you first start thinking about writing children's books? Because I imagine you have to really know your audience.
Well, it helps that I've got a mind of a 12-year-old boy. That makes it a bit easier. But I suppose I started a long time ago doing those Choose Your Own Adventure game books. Do you remember those?
Oh, I do. I used to really like those.
Dungeons and Dragons type stuff.
And they were the ones for people that don't know, because we're in a computer age now. You'd be reading something and you would have 2 or 3 options that you could go to different parts of the book for different storylines, couldn't you?
That's it, yeah. So I did a lot of that. So I've been writing books for kids for 30 years now. For a long time, like The Life Age of a Dark Lord.
And where did the Dark Lord come from?
Well, because of that, I've played lots of books myself and computer games and designed computer games and books. And they've always got some evil supervillain in the background. And most of our supervillains today are quite two-dimensional characters, if you think about Voldemort and Sauron and so on. Our Dark Lords, mostly because they don't need to be. Don't mean that as a criticism of anyone else, but they don't need to be because they're just there to be knocked down. So after 30 years of living in this fantasy world, I began to think about what it would be like to be a Dark Lord. Why does anyone want to conquer the world, slay all the elves, eat hobbit pie? Why do they want to do that? So then you begin thinking about, it gave me the idea of doing the story from the point of view of the super bad guy. You know, if you remember the game books, you've always got a super bad guy and you're trying to defeat him. What's it like for him to have all these heroes and paladins after him?
And was it great fun for you coming up with all these?
Well, yeah, because you immediately think of that idea, then you think, well, if you did it straight, it would be like having, Adolf Hitler would be the hero. You can't really write a story like that. He's, to put it mildly, he's not really going to have much sympathy or empathy for him. So it had to be comedic. So how do you make it funny for the Dark Lord? Well, in my Dark Lord books, it's our Dark Lord gets cursed and cast into the outer darkness and falls and crash lands in a modern-day Tesco car park in Sussex.
Of course.
Of course, it happens every day. He's been cursed into the body of a 13-year-old boy. And the police find him and they say, "What's your name, boy?" And he goes, "Boy, I am the Dark Lord." And it comes out, "Boy, I'm the Dirk Lloyd." So they think he's called Dirk and they make him go to school. So that immediately is the comedy aspect. So it's kind of telling it from the Dark Lord's point of view, but making it funny. And then it also had to be redemptive, because you can't just be an evil boy, Dark Lord. He has to learn new ways of doing things through friendship and that kind of thing. So he becomes sort of good, not too good.
And I mentioned you got this Roald Dahl Funny Prize book for your first one. Was that a great honour for you?
It was, after doing... So I sort of knew my fantasy inside out, so it wasn't hard for me to turn that on its head and make it work at the voice of the Dark Lord. But to actually win an award like that was probably the best moment of my life, career-wise, certainly. I beat David Walliams and Frank Cottrell Boyce.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so that was great. I really didn't expect to win.
No, I imagine. I mean, great to be nominated, really, as well, but to win.
Yeah,
and do you think that did help you a little bit to get your name out there a bit more?
Oh, unquestionably, yes. I mean, Michael Rosen set up that Roald Dahl Funny Prize because it's so hard to get the recognition for writing a very funny book, and it's a skill of its own. But it sort of writes you out of the literary prizes, if you know what I mean. It's much harder to win them when you're doing a comedy. So it's great that the main premise of winning it is just how funny is it.
And obviously it was that funny, wasn't it? And will you be talking about the Dark Lord when you come to Penzance for the Little Fest?
I sort of created a Dark Lord travelling roadshow. I have a PowerPoint and a Dark Lord's USB. But I have all these sort of silly props, and I have a Dark Lord's skull chest. And
do you put on lots of funny voices as well?
Well, I mostly do the voice of the Dark Lord and entertain. It's just like nowadays you can't just write a book. You have to become a bit of an entertainer. So it's a sort of hours-long comedy entertainment. And I do a bit where I get all the kids to stand up and talk like a Dark Lord. So you can imagine 300 children all going, "Bow down and worship me, you worms."
I'm sure they enjoy that.
They love that bit, yeah.
And is it great for you to kind of get out and because I often say to writers, being a writer is quite a solitary job, isn't it? But is it great to get out and meet people that read your work?
Especially, I've been doing it for a couple of years, and when I first went around after winning the prize, you go, has anyone read it? And it might be one kid if you're lucky. But nowadays, quite a lot of them have, because it's sort of, the prize made such a difference. And it's so rewarding to be able to talk straight to your audience and to see little kids laughing at what you've written and entertaining them, because their laughs are so unforced, they don't have any mocking laughs or any sarcastic laughs. Well, they do when they're a bit older, but at a certain age, 9 or 10, and that's very rewarding.
And are you writing a new one?
Although I mustn't really admit to that. Actually, I like going forth and conquering my minions.
And are you writing a new one at the moment?
Yes, I'll probably be a 4th Dark Lord in the series, because there's 3 of them, and I'm doing a new series set in space, which is kind of Dark Lordish, but more comedy in space.
And that's aimed at children as well,
yeah,
isn't it?
Same age, it's 9, 10, 11, 12, that kind of age group.
And do you think, would you like to see your work maybe televised, put into TV series or something?
Well, of course, who wouldn't? But it would make a great fun TV series, I think, because it's a really good setting, the idea of Sauron in Surbiton, in sort of a school setting. You could have a lot of fun with that. I've just followed one sort of storyline through the 3 books, essentially, Dark, not Dirk. No, Dirk, not, because his name's Dirk, so he's got it, and he's forgotten his original, I can't get into the entire plot of it because it's too complicated, but there's plenty of material there that you can play around with.
Well, you never know you never know who might be going to events like this. That's the thing as well. They might know someone who knows someone. And as I mentioned, Littlefest is part of the Penzance Lit Fest. Do you think it's a great idea to involve younger people when it comes to a literary festival?
Very much, yes. It's a great way to inspire them, to get them reading and also writing themselves. Often I do a little bit of interactive creativity session within the show, and it gets their to stimulate their creative minds, and also the value of reading. Obviously, I want them all to read my books. Sadly, they must read other people's books as well. But yeah, so it's all a lot of fun in that sense, because if you can get them inspired through laughter, that's a great way to get kids reading.
Well, it's been great to speak to you this afternoon. I'll give out the details of your talk, but have a good trip to Penzance, won't you?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I do a lot of festivals, as we all over the country, as most authors have to do these days. But it's always nice to go out and get out of your one. Well, I'm usually kept in the dungeons of doom, working all day by my evil overlord, writing his autobiography.
So you'll be in the sunshine, hopefully.
In the sunshine,
fingers crossed.
Yes.
Well, good to speak to you, Jamie. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
No worries. Thank you, Tiffany.
Bye.
Bye.
That's Jamie Thomson, who's one of the Littlefest authors, part of